Hi, good afternoon, everyone. I'm Dr. Edgardo Sanabria Valentin. I'm the Associate Director of the Program for Research Initiatives in Science and Math here at John Jay. And welcome to our Career Connections event of the fall of 2025. Today, we have alumni from John Jay that are going to be joining us. The topic for today is John Jay STEM alumni that are pursuing careers different from their majors. And we have three alumni with us. First one is Mr. Derek Sokolowski. He's right now a product manager at Cell Culture at PHC North America. He's from the class of 2015. Harrison Fernandez from the class of 2019, who works as a data manager at Sponsors for Educational Opportunity and works in nonprofits. And Miss Laurie-Ann Chambers from the class of 2016, who's the operation managers at Grossman, Hammond, and Young. Okay, so I'm going to give them a chance first to introduce themselves and tell you a little bit about who they are and what is that they do. After that, we're going to have a few questions for them. And then after, we're going to open the floor for questions from you guys. Please remember that all these panelists are John Jay alumni. They're wearing your shoes. So they know the skinny. They have the answers that you want. Particularly, what we want to focus on today is how do you move after you leave college? How do you move in a very, very slightly chaotic job market where there is no guarantees in life? So we'll start with Laurie-Ann. Laurie-Ann, why don't you go ahead?
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Laurie-Ann Chambers. I have the pleasure of being the operations manager at Grossman, Young and Hammond. We're a boutique law firm, an immigration law firm, actually, operating out of Bethesda, Maryland. I actually first started my journey at John Jay as an international student, hailing from the beautiful island of Jamaica. I know you may have actually seen notices in the news about what happened recently in Jamaica with Hurricane Melissa. So keep us in your thoughts and prayers. But my journey at John Jay was as a forensic science student. I saw myself as a future forensic scientist akin to the Bones experience, going into crime scene investigation and being able to do a lot of lab work. But that's not where my journey really ended up. I actually really enjoy what I do here at the law firm. I am the operations manager. I handle everything from finance to HR to personnel to org strategy. Anything that's required to the operations of a law firm, I'm your gal. And a lot of what I do now is actually directly tied to the education provided by John Jay. Strategy, analytics, numbers, metrics, people, prioritization, time management, you name it, it ties directly into what I do today. So that's a skinny of what I do.
Thank you, Laurie-Ann. Derek.
Good afternoon, everyone. My name is Derek Sokolowski. As I pointed out, I am the product manager for cell culture at the PHC Corporation of North America. I came to John Jay as a forensic science major and an honors program student. I then was a PRISM student in my sophomore to junior years, and then graduated and then did a plethora of work stemming from helping out the PRISM office to academia to teaching to tutoring to operating a lab incubator space, and now where I'm at right now, which is developing products in cell culture work. So incubators, refrigerators, and some cell and gene therapy products. So yeah, and I work with people from Japan. So it's fun having meetings at 6 in the morning or 10 o'clock at night because of the 14-hour time difference. But I've been to Japan, so I'm the first in my family not to only go to college, but also to Japan.
Oh, so cool.
Yet I'm deathly allergic to seafood and shellfish.
Oh, hopefully you discovered that before landing in Japan.
Oh yeah, I did.
Harrison?
Yeah, hey everyone. I just got back from Japan last month and got engaged over there. So That's an exciting life update. But my name is Harrison. I graduated from John Jay in 2019 in computer science, information security, um, and originally thought that I would graduate, um, go into a PhD program, and become a computer science professor. Um, I gave it a shot, and I pivoted shortly after going into a graduate program and found myself working as sort of a project manager for SEO Scholars, a nonprofit based in New York City, where they help high school students throughout throughout their career, get into college, and then help them into jobs afterwards. Um, but the short of it is that I kind of use those skills, the technical skills, to project manage. And essentially, I'm like the kind of like a database administrator for the nonprofit. So I kind of get the best of both worlds of a really great mission helping young people, low income students, and at the same time use my technical skills. So, yeah.
Thank you, Harrison. Okay, so here's my first question. Obviously, the reason why we sought you out is because we wanted to explore the topic of pivots in careers. Was there a turning point or decision, both in college or afterwards, that shaped where you are now? What was that turning point, and how did you approach it? Let's start with Harrison.
Yeah, I think the turning point I had done a I was a camp counselor the summer of my junior year, where the organization is called Bridge to Enter Advanced Mathematics, BEAM. Uh, and in that moment, I was a math computer science counselor doing tutoring, uh, helping sixth to seventh graders learn math, advanced math, um, and having that impact slowly brought me into nonprofit spaces, impacting lives of young people. Um, and I think that's where it started. And then I had become president of the computer science club at John Jay, the Computer Science Society. And that really gave me a lot of opportunities working with my peers, putting on workshops that also impacted their lives. And then I think now that brought me to kind of just continuing that sort of work. Yeah, so I'd say that summer junior year internship kind of experience helped me get there.
Okay. How about you, Laurie-Ann?
That's a great question. I think a key turning point for me, or at least two key turning points for me, were when I was one of the student leaders for Jamaica Yasso. I was able to see what it was like behind the scenes of running an organization, what it took to be a strategist, what it took to plan something from its inception straight to its execution. And I gravitated towards that. I loved the problem solving, how I could apply a timeline and ideas and get creative. And that I think helped propel me into the career that I'm in today. Another turning point, I'd like to think it was tied to my time in CUNY Service Corps. I had the opportunity to work as a STEM educator under the American, it's the ASA, it's an American school institution, something like that. I can't remember what it's called right now, but I had the opportunity to teach, similarly to Harrison, students in smaller underprivileged communities, science. And I got to introduce forensic science to young children, math, biology, really cool experimentation. And I realized that not only do I like to be a strategist, I like to develop young minds as well as organizations.
Excellent. Derek?
So I kind of have to go along with what Laurie-Ann said, which was kind of two turning points. My first turning point was that point where in the forensic science program, you have to take instrumental and biochemistry in the same year. And for some reason, I went, let me throw in being the treasurer of the photography club on top of that. That was back when you still use paper-based budgeting forms, not computer-based ones, unless they still do use those sheets. But having to figure out not only a budget, but also experiments, planning experiments, having to write your reports, having the time to write your reports and collecting all of your data. It was a big plate spinning, all over the place. And that experience really told me that I needed to up my stakes as managing sort of like these projects, so to speak, regardless if it's in the classroom or if it's in clubs in college. And then the second turning point was I was in a transition between jobs in like 2021 or so. And I wanted to take a chance at a position that I didn't think I might have been qualified for, but I thought, why not? It was offered through the oh, what's that? It's a program that it's for biotech in New York,
Life
and
science?
yes, thank you, life science. So it was a position offered in Lifeside, New York, and I got hired. And after that, that really put me into some sort of managerial position that helped me kind of build that confidence of like, not only can you handle a lot of work, but you can handle managing that work to other people and yourself. So that's where, that came into play. But instrumental always comes into my day once in a while at work. So I can always tell Dr. Roberts I have a whole chapter in my life of like how that class relates to work.
Well, so just in summary, what I heard was both internships and extracurricular activities had an impact for you guys to be able to learn skills that are not necessarily taught in the classroom. And this is the type of thing that you don't know what you're going to learn and you don't know if you're going to use it, but might as well, if you have the opportunity, do it. Don't run away from it. Also, Laurie-Ann and Derek, you both mentioned taking opportunities to develop your leadership skills with student organizations was important on that path. And last, not running away from experiences that help you push your boundaries and potentially discover new skills. So it can be very comfortable to just go to college and just take the classes and graduate. And I think that what we're getting here is a very good endorsement of is that and what that and is going to be special and different for everyone. Okay, so of course, the three of you graduated from different science majors and also from computer science, which have both, like all education at John Jay, has a gen ed component, the major component, and then your specialization component. And through those courses, you develop both soft skills and also technical skills. Can you tell me one skill that you developed while you were at John Jay that you still use every day? And let's start with Derek.
I would have to say, definitely record keeping and leaving not a paper trail, but just a trail of, of documentation. You learn that so much in instrumental by keeping a notebook, by recording every little thing that could come up, because you never know when you look back at something that could be a sort of way to investigate issues that might come up or that have come up that you could figure out a solution to solve for. And so with that, definitely the record keeping in labs, like instrumental comes to my head, but biochemistry did the same thing, Gen Chem, Gen Bio, and whatnot. Yeah. But instead of keeping a paper notebook, I keep a digital notebook. So save the paper.
Harrison?
Yeah, I'd say maybe the project management skills, to keep it very, very high level. When I'm going into meetings or project planning, I'm always using if then, right? Like all my computer science people or anyone who's done any sort of programming knows like if X, Y, and Z, then A, B, and C, right? So um, I'm always bringing that to my work in terms of bringing the logic to projects, so that we get things done. We kind of fact find what needs to happen in order for our goals to be met. And I think that just applies to like any sort of job, right? Or not specifically computer science. So yeah.
Okay. Laurie-Ann?
Yeah, Derek, I definitely don't miss those paper notebooks. Oh gosh. But yes, leveraging technology is definitely one of the key skills that I use on a daily basis. Being exposed to so many different types of instruments and their applications and creative uses of them. I do that every day today. You think statistics would have left you in college, but it follows you into the business world as well. So using things like R script and all of those different systems and platforms are pivotal. I don't think that if I hadn't been exposed to complex systems then, that I'd be able to manage implementing completely new systems here and now.
Okay. So what I am hearing is both a combination of technical and non-technical skills, particularly those that can potentially that are, we call it something in that specific field, but really when you think about it, they're universal, like organizational skills, as they're referred to, record keeping. If you start looking for job posts, a lot of them are going to say, we're looking for people with good communications and organizational skills. What does that mean? Record keeping for instrumental, or for your research for FOS 401 or 402 experience, or a particular capstone that you did where you had to develop some code. I like that project management thing that you mentioned, Harrison. It's so important because there is both a very clear standard definition about what project management is. If you go by the Project Management Institute, for which you can get certified as a project manager, it has some very specific connotations. But when you think about it, and I did it because I did a short project management course over the summer to figure out, is what you do every day. Is just organize on a way that more cohesive and using a common language instead of you having, I mean, organizing your calendar and your schedule and figuring out what are the resources you're going to require to be able to lead a project to conclusion. That's something that you do in the back of your head as you're planning your day. That's project management just applied to in a larger scale to your work and potentially to teamwork. And it's what you do also on group projects for capstones, for instrumental, and on organic chemistry when you're working on partners. Before you start a lab, you have to figure out, do I have all the reagents? Do I have all the glassware? Okay, now I start. So it's these skills that we use every day. We just don't know how, in college, we don't know how to call them. But it's making sure that you look at those commonalities and are able to develop them and demonstrate that you have them as you're looking for jobs. Okay, so this is my favorite question that I ask to every panel that I do. I want you to put yourself in the seat, in the shoes of our students. Imagine you are looking to young Derek or Harrison or Laurie, and you wanted to be able to tell them, hey, I wish somebody had told me this. I wish somebody had told me pay attention to that. what is that? What is one skill, or what is one piece of advice that you wish you could give an 18-year-old yourself at when you were 18 years old? Laurie.
This is a very introspective question because the me of then, and still to some degree the me of now, I'm a big planner, right? I have A, B, C, D, E, F, and G, all the way through Z, usually outlined. But I would have told circa John J. Laurie that she should appreciate the season that she's in, that she should experience the college experience. She should experience the moment, the now. Things will fall into place. And yes, it's good to plan. It's good to have an idea of where you want to go, but it may not all pan out the way you've planned it, and that's okay. But if you experience the season that you're in right now, it will all fall into play.
Okay. How about you, Derek?
I would say your major does not define the role you will be taking for the rest of your life. It's not a law. It's not something you're stuck with. It's something that can be easily turned fluid and flexible as you move throughout your degree program. And then the next thing I would say is the path ahead is not a straight line. It has twists, it has turns. Sometimes it loops back. Sometimes it goes all the way to one direction, and then you have to make it come back to center. But getting to where you want to go is more important than getting to where you want to go strictly in a straight manner. So if it takes a little bit longer for you to get something done, as long as you can get it done, that's more important than, trying to figure out how to get it perfectly done, because the world isn't perfect. So, you want to be able to know that if you really want something and you believe in it, you'll get there doing what you need to do to get there. Just never assume that it's a straight line.
I like that. Particularly because we don't know what the future is going to hold, and if you do know the future, that means you have discovered how to predict the future, and I won the lotto numbers. Harrison.
Yeah, I love Laurie and Derek's answers so far. It reminds me of like the saying, "Don't miss the forest for the trees." I think like if you kind of focus in too much on the trees, you're gonna miss like the beautiful picture of a forest, like zooming out. Um, to add, and I think sort of complementing their answers, I think when I was a freshman, um, I would go to class, go home, and not much else, right? And not until later on, my junior, senior year, I started, and my advice for the freshmen would be start saying yes more. So say yes to that internship, the opportunities, the volunteer work, um, joining clubs, really anything, the networking sessions that happen. Uh, just start saying yes, right? Because when you're a freshman, you might not know what you don't like. And I'd rather have a checkbox of things that I know I don't like. And that kind of gets me closer to what I do like or what I want to do. And I think that's um, kind of helped me get to where I am now, and I'm happy with what I've got so far, and also helps you become a very diverse candidate if you want to kind of apply for different jobs and um, really fleshes out your resume and stuff. So I'll stop there.
Okay, something that I found a commonality between the responses from the three of you is time. Is enjoying the time, take advantage of the time that you have, and that is very important because as we mentioned, we cannot predict the future. We cannot live in the past. We can only live in the present, but we certainly can take advantage or make sure that we take advantage of the time that we have in the present to try to learn what we like, what we don't like, because that's going to then help us in the future identify what I can do, what I don't want to do. And I like also, Derek, what you mentioned, your major doesn't define you. And I do know that in the United States, we ask students to pick their major way too early. And it does feel a little bit like a prison sentence, but it doesn't have to be. Actually, in STEM in general, only 25% of college graduates from STEM in the US have a first job related to STEM. And that's not even looking at what happens afterwards, but that first job after they finish the STEM degree, only 25% report that it was a job in STEM. That changes, of course, with level of preparation and levels of degree, but in general, that tells you that, and STEM majors are employed at a higher rate than some other majors, not all of them anymore. But that means that a lot of them are employed and a lot of them are not necessarily employed in STEM, and they're still out there with jobs and with careers. So that's something to definitely keep in mind. Okay. So far you've all been out of college for some time, and something that I want to focus is the role of mentorship and the role of networking. Can you tell us about who influenced you or inspired you most during your college years, and how did that shape your path? It can also be after college. Who did you meet after meeting John Jay that set you in that path? So tell us about that network of people that have been able to help you. Let's start with Harrison.
Yeah, good question. I had the what is it? The advantage, right, of being involved in PRISM, being involved in the honors program, that I had a lot of mentorship in different people, and they helped me kind of put myself out there. I'm normally very introverted, right? So even like being here on a panel is not in my character that much. So they really helped me to start saying yes to a lot of opportunities. And I'd say with the networking piece, I got involved with Beam, the mathematics camp. And by doing that, I graduated John Jay, and I reached out to them again and I said, "Hey, do you have any full-time positions? I'm looking for something very much related in this field," right? Like I loved the work that I did with them. And they were like, "No, we don't have anything right now, but here is, a short list of nonprofits that we work with, and we really love their work." And from that short list, I got a part-time job at Sponsors for Educational Opportunity, started networking there just with other teams and their leads. And then I had two part-time jobs at that organization, then led to a full-time offer a few months later. Then I met another director from another department, and now I'm in my current role at the same organization. So, yeah, just networking, and uh, that really helped a lot, I think. I'll stop there.
How about you, Laurie-Ann?
This is a great question. You're making me dredge through some like serious memories here. So Peter Dychek, he was my PI back in the day. And though my degree is in MoBio, he's primarily criminalistics, but I got to sit in on a few of his classes. He was really cool. My presentation for PRISM was barrels and striations and barrels for the Glock firearm. It was really cool, like just being able to see the different phases and facets of the forensics world. From there, I had the opportunity to actually intern at the Baltimore County Crime Department there, their forensics lab there. And while there, I mentored underneath the director of the department, and it was interesting. She's Jamaican as well, or she hails from Jamaica, and she asked me a very serious question that I never thought that a person of her profession and her placement in her career would have asked me. She said, "Oh, and taking two steps back." She asked me this because she's Jamaican, and throwing to what you said earlier, Ed. In Jamaica, you actually choose your major from like ninth grade. So I had to be in the sciences from ninth grade through my college experience because that's all I've done since the ninth grade. And she asked me, does this make you light up? Like, do you truly enjoy what it is that you do? And I had to take a look at myself, and I thought, this is something that I fell into and I just had to keep going. I had to keep doing. I was too far invested in it. But she allowed me to wake up and really look around and realize that no, this is really not it. This is not what gives me the fire, the passion, the drive. And there's something deeper there. So I ended up not continuing my journey with the crime lab and stepping into law firm operations.
Thank you. How about you, Derek?
So, I pursued a master's degree in law at Northwestern University, and at that program, I was doing both lab operations as well as that degree program. So I got to meet with people online from all across the world, from people from Saudi Arabia all the way to China, which was a nice experience because you get to meet with people of different ethnicities, cultures, languages and whatnot. And it was interesting to meet them once a year in Chicago, which where I'm at right now, and be able to talk to them face to face and really develop that network. When I was the lab operations associate at Biolabs, I had to deal with a lot of companies such as my own in terms of, discussing strategies and being able to fulfill, the needs and wants of the relationships between those companies and my job then. And just by them seeing like the commonality I keep hearing is Derek has such energy. And I go, that must be the coffee. But, just by people remembering certain little things about you brings you up in all different kinds of, conversations and things that happen, especially, when you put stuff on LinkedIn saying, hey, I'm looking for a job. Can anyone help? And there's a private message coming to you saying, hey, I think I got something for you. What do you think? So that's where those two kinds of places, work and school, can kind of help and develop you those relationships so that you can not have to think about, oh my god, how am I going to eat next week, or when after that last paycheck, how am I going to pay for rent? It's because you already got someone that is in the wings kind of guiding you towards a better place.
Let's stick to the topic a little bit of networking. How do you get started as a young professional, particularly right out of college? Can you tell our students about an experience or a piece of advice that you got on how to get started or something that worked for you? Derek?
I think it was looking at social media a lot, especially professional social media. So LinkedIn is like the Facebook, Instagram, X, Twitter, whatever you call it these days. Um, Snapchat. Do we still do Snapchat? Probably. But or TikTok maybe. No, TikTok, yeah, that's it. Um, so that is the place where a lot of announcements get posted up, and somehow its algorithm starts sending you things that might be interesting to you. And that's where you start going, maybe I should go check out this event over here, or this looks like an interesting group of people. Maybe we should figure out a way to hang out and or message each other and whatnot. Because nowadays people do things like Discord chats and free food events. Because come on, who doesn't like free food and talking to people? I'll come for the food and then we'll start a conversation. So that kind of social media networking really drives it home that way.
Okay. How about you, Harrison?
Yeah, I'd say the right like the after let me think after graduating, um getting involved in I think outside of work, I've had success networking, right? Like with my hobbies. So, right with like running is a big hobby of mine, and so I'm involved with the Queens distance runners. If anyone's in Queens, they have a lot of meetups and a lot of locations, and just people from all over the place or like all different walks of life, different work. Um, all different ages are coming out to these meetups, right? And we all just like kind of share this passion for running. It's totally outside of work, something to talk, easy to talk about as I'm introverted. So, not so much of the, you know, cocktail party and shaking hands and stuff, but, you know, hey, how was your runs this week? Or how fast do you run? Or how long have you been running? Like, very easy, low stakes. That's a good kind of vibe that I've been able to like learn more skills like photography. There's a lot of photographers, and so yeah, just like little things you might never know from just going putting yourself out there like that.
Okay, Laurie-Ann?
I agree. Definitely putting yourself out there, send the email, make the call, go to the event. But also just be immersed in your community because your community can have such a great reach and a great impact. Being a part of the Prism community, being a part of John Jay, Club Row, like just interacting with those persons, that's a network right there. And then wherever they end up in the world, it extends that network. So just be immersed, be involved, um, create your own village or start creating your village from now, especially as a freshman. Go on out and just experience it all.
Okay, so definitely get out there. Don't be shy. Ask. Professionals out there want to help, but you have to ask. They're not gonna be. I mean, a few of them will be on Reddit and will host AMAs, but if they still do that, I don't even know. But you can reach out. You can use the tools in LinkedIn to find John Jay alumni with jobs that you find interesting. You can contact them, and as long as you're respectful of their time, they're going to want to help. You just have to ask. Okay. So I'm going to ask one last question and then we're going to move to questions from the audience. If you guys have questions, you can press on the react, raise your hand, and I will call on you on the order that they post. You can also use the Q&A section on Zoom or potentially use the chat, although I'm not paying that much attention to the chat. So last question. What's a misconception about your field or profession that you'd like students to know? Harrison?
Misconception about nonprofit work. I mean, nonprofit is so vague in itself that I'm not sure what kind of, there's not any sort of guidance as to the major right to work at a nonprofit or in education or in that kind of space. I'll say that in general, I think nonprofits get a bad rep of overworked and underpaid, and that might be true for some nonprofits, but you might find a very good one, right? Like at SEO Scholars, I find been very well to me, and I've been here for 5 years, and I've been very happy and treated well. So you never know.
Okay. How about you, Derek?
Common misconception is a scientist can never know business and law, and business and law people can never know about science. It's not true. A scientist can always learn the law and learn a little bit about business to understand how to develop a product because it always involves experiments one way or another. But being able to understand what goes into that experiments from the funding to the legality of it, it's, it's amazing that, I always go, little things happen from day to day, and that's where you sit back and take a moment, and go, I learned that at John Jay, and this helped me so much. Like about a week ago, Beer Lambert law just came out of nowhere in my head, going, oh my God, I just I could, something like that, But yeah, scientists do not stay in the lab. They have to come out. You have to go out and see other things. And the same for, business and law people. So
How about you, Laurie-Ann?
In order for you to be impactful in a law firm, you need to have a law degree. No. You can have any degree and be able to apply it and have the experience to be able to be impactful in any space, especially in a law firm where a lot of what we've learned in the science field is actually related through the project management, as Harrison highlighted, through the record keeping. HR is all record keeping. So you don't need a law degree. I actually, when I first started working in the law firm, I was like, oh shit, now I need to, excuse me. Oh no, I need to go and get a law degree because there's no way I'm going to be able to progress within my career here. But no, not at all. That is not the requirement. That's not the expectation. You can create an impact with all the tools and skills that you've garnered through STEM education.
Okay, actually, I do have another question because I'm curious. How much are you using AI to optimize your time and to do your job, Laurie-Ann?
So that's a great question. We're actually using AI right now to do a lot of our form completion and our timeline and project and case management. So we actually just implemented a new system called Immigration AI that uses a scan and import feature to read a lot of our clients' government-related documents and files, to pre-fill forms, and also to verify their eligibility for some of their applications.
Cool.
Mhm.
How about you, Derek?
Well, Ed, as you know, my emails tend to sound sometimes aggressive or too much like a legal person. So sometimes I just throw into Copilot AI going, can you make my email sound a little bit nicer and, make sure that it asks the right questions. But going further into that though, AI is being used to do analyzing, forecasting, even things such as I want to develop a report on this Microsoft platform. What are the steps to do that using this file? And I want it to look this nice. And I need to present it to an audience of, business and, engineering, so that's where, AI really has come into play. Is it replacing people at the companies? Not right now, as far as I've seen. It's more like instead of more manual labor, it's less manual, more mental labor now.
How about you, Harrison?
Yeah, I agree with Derek. I don't think we use it much otherwise for rewriting emails and making sure our communication's clear. Like, uh, yeah, with project management, there's so many deadlines that I'm trying to fit into one email. So I'm like, how can I make this like the most obvious, right? We don't spend time. If I have to scroll more than once through an email, I'm probably not reading it. So um, I'll go to my AI for, hey, make this sound better, clearer.
Okay, so we have a few questions from students already. First one comes from Jadine. What is the biggest sacrifice you feel you've made when choosing to pivot from the career path you initially chose in school? Or has there been a sacrifice that you feel that you made?
I can go. I will say that there was a lot of time invested in pursuing a degree that seemed, and at the time, in that mindset, that seemed so narrow. Um, and I would have loved to taken a few more gen eds to broaden my career knowledge from while I was in college so that I could get a wider scope of what's really out there rather than just like honing in on one specific thing and feeling tied and bound to it. But I will say, not but, and I will say that despite honing in on a specific degree, I've still been able to creatively use those skills in a different way for my career. So I don't necessarily think of it as a regret of any way or in any way. It's just how you frame it. It's all about how you frame it.
How about you, Harrison?
Yeah, I think I like that about the framing, and I guess I feel like you can always go back to it if you kind of had this sort of regret. You always have the degree and the skills if you'd like to go back. Something sacrificed, you could say earning potential, maybe, right? Like if I went back into something like tech, but then it's like, would I have gotten the job and all these? There's a lot of what ifs. So that might be one of them. And I would say that if I didn't pivot, I would have been sacrificing my mental health. So I'm much happier now than I was on that first computer science job after graduating. So I'm happy about it.
How about you, Derek?
I mean, I would say the biggest sacrifice that I had to make was leaving the bench. Leaving behind my poor pipetter set and my lab coat a little bit and going into a career path that's not lab intensive at all, mostly focused on just conceptualizing and drafting and more a mental exercise and logic and whatnot than it is, I'm going to sit down in my chair, I'm going to pull out a pipette set, I'm going to make some RNA, DNA, and hope for the best for my PCR and in a gel and whatnot. Um, and, you know, it wasn't a big sacrifice yet because I spent a lot of time learning about all techniques and whatnot, even after graduating from John Jay, things such as scratching the surface in animal husbandry and whatnot. But it was an experience I always will value because um, even though I might not have gotten into like a PhD program that I thought I was going to get into after graduating college and whatnot, I still feel that um, experience really, is the best thing you can have that you could use whenever you can on your career path. Even though you might have done it years ago, just remembering that you did it and what the struggles were with that experience and whatnot can help you in so many ways that way. And overcoming any feelings of self-doubt, I would say, um, you know, without stuff happens. I use another word than that word, but stuff happens. It's not all your fault, and you're going to get to where you need to go. You just have to find out a different way to get there. That's all.
Okay, so I want to talk a little bit about that learning curve of that you run into when you change career paths. How did you handle it, and was there something that you applied or you got to do to try to overcome it? What advice do you have to students that are faced with that possibility of having to completely switch and having to relearn from the ground up to transition into a different career? Harrison?
Yeah, um, I would say I think that's something you learn in the degree. Getting the degree is, I guess, like to tie it to a computer science way, right? Like programming languages, there's always a new one to learn. You can't learn them all, right? Like in any degree program, you're probably only using one or two, and they're probably sort of outdated by now. And then, um, so you're learning, I would say the degree is telling you those transferable skills. Like if you can learn one programming language, you can learn them all. Um, and you can find you can be clever about how you kind of leverage that in a totally different position. Um, right? Like if you have a technical background or like me, computer science, going into a nonprofit, I'm using Excel and I'm getting really creative with my formulas and my pivots and things like that. And you can find little things like that like anywhere, I'd say. So I'll stop there.
Derek?
I would say is that whenever you start a new role in a career path that you didn't think you were going to be in, you're not expected to be like going 1,000 miles an hour forward and bringing such a return on investment for the company. That's not expected with you because you have to mold and shape the way you do things with how the company does things, and then kind of adjust both at the same time. And you had to do that when you were taking classes at John Jay, right? Every teacher has a different teaching style. Every teacher gives you more things or less things. I mean, I remember standing in front of a gas chromatography unit going, this, if I break this, I might have to buy one. I mean, I don't think I would, but like, my God, I have a syringe full of some mysterious liquid I got to put in here and hope for the best and get some results. But without trial and error, you won't know how something works and how something doesn't work. And that's just lessons learned that way. It's the same thing when it comes to career path and whatnot. It's learning your lessons along the way.
Laurie?
You can supplement your knowledge along the way. Don't think that with this career change, you have to be an expert on day one. As you transition within the career, the more you learn, the better, the easier it is. I ended up going back and doing a certificate. So you can supplement it in differing ways. Where you think there may be a gap or an opportunity to strengthen, you can use LinkedIn education. They have like little courses and things like that. You have free courses online that you can participate in. Where if you feel that you need to strengthen something, if you aren't able to creatively use what you already know from your John Jay experience, just supplement it if you can.
Yeah, just so you remember, through the Career Learning Lab, we have access to LinkedIn Learn full accounts. I am taking a management a refresher course where have a lot of HR people talking at me about stuff I didn't know before. Um, it's a good opportunity and something that I like to tell students, particularly in science, don't so that so that you can learn what are those skills. Don't wait until you have to look for a job to look for a job. Those jobs are already posted. There are jobs out there for everything, and they're all gonna have keywords. Learn those keywords so you can identify opportunities to gain those skills. And talking about that, I'm gonna ask you a question for my own purposes. What do you wish we did more of at Prism? What do you wish we were able to offer? What do you think we should be, what do you think we should integrate next year into Prism programming to help our students be more ready for both the real world and the labor market? I'm going to give you a little bit of time too, because I didn't tell you this question before.
I think I'll start with that. I would say uh, it was something I heard once when I was applying for colleges. It's sort of like you have like a group, like not a study. I mean, it's like a study group, but it's not, we're not studying for finals. It's more like we're trying to get through the same thing together, but we all do. It's like a lived in learning group. I don't know if that's the right word. Um, but essentially is just having that get together once in a while, whether it be for lunch, whether, community hour, or even after, like, everyone's done with classes, go meet up somewhere in Manhattan, because you got plenty of things to do in Manhattan, from uptown to downtown, that you could do together, and just talking about, like, any issues that you might be having, because you know having that group of people that you can talk to, you can get yourselves through anything, like, hey, did you know that close class opened up in the registrar? It's a great class. Quick, you got to sign up. Or, hey, did you hear about this summer program? Because I think it's great, and I think so and so went to that program. We should bring them into that. So I think that kind of a community, without being like mandatory, like you're mandatory have to show up, you know, certain number of times a semester or something, show up when you can, show up after finals, because that's where everyone really wants to talk is, oh my God, finals are over, thank God, kind of thing. But I think that kind of a community building type of group would be really useful, I would say.
How about you, Laurie-Ann? Any advice for us?
I think it maybe parallels what Derek was highlighting. Using us, and I'm volunteering us, Harrison and Derek, as additional resources for existing students. So connecting with us to see if there are any job postings or internship opportunities with non-STEM careers, to see if there's anything that's out there that someone wants to try on. There's so many hats out there, so many experiences that people can, as Derek highlighted, live and learn. So maybe connecting with us to see if there are any opportunities that we can share.
Okay, I am definitely going to connect you with Roseanne Santos from Alumni Engagement. We have a great alumni mentoring program that we work. Basically, every cohort in the college gets 10 students, and they help us connect them with alumni that are pursuing careers similar to what the student is aspiring. And this year, actually, for science and math, we have 15 instead of 10 because I'm that good. Harrison.
Yeah, I think I really enjoyed. I think in my last year at John Jay, PRISM had these like lunch and learns with professors to talk about their projects, and that was really nice and just like a way of adding maybe like a easy conversation or segue to talk with the professor. That was really nice and helpful, and I really want to say that that financial workshop that was advertised at the beginning sounds super helpful. And I'm very upset with myself that I didn't know a lot about financials. Like, the hell is a Roth IRA? I just learned about this like now, like a couple months ago. So if you can start doing that now, you got to really do that. And Prism and these like any events at John Jay in general, I think are very helpful. I think once you leave or exit college, you kind of get this, or I've gotten the skepticism, like, what are people trying to sell me now? And I feel like with Prism, John Jay, it's like very not salesman, right? Like they're not trying to sell you on something, they're being genuine. And yeah, so do that. Financials, very important.
Excellent. Okay, do we have any other questions from the audience? Please feel free to raise your hand on the React function. You can post it on the Q&A or post them on the chat. Let's see. Karima. Think you're unmuted, but I cannot hear you. Okay. So Karima, why don't you pose your question and we'll go with Allison's. What kept you going during those tough days, during the initial days of your switch in your careers? Was there uh, any good stories about those days when you were brand new on your new jobs, and where did you find your inspiration? I will let you guys from now on pick who wants to answer first.
Sure, I'll give this a try. Um, it was exciting. It was new. It was a challenge. It was something different from what I've been living and experiencing and learned about. And that actually propelled me to keep going. And then with each new accomplishment or each new unlocked challenge or each new opportunity to create an impact, I just kept wanting more of it. It sounds a little addicting, but it's what it was. It was really an exciting new experience that kept propelling me forward.
I'll go next. So within probably any Japanese company, they will always bring into this kind of philosophy. It's called Kaizen, which is translated to continuous improvement. And so you're there in your role to not just do a job, but do a job and kind of help the company continuously improve upon that. And my personality is always, oh, I could do it that way, but I think I could do it better than that because I like to always over deliver. Ed is smiling because he knows I like to over deliver a lot. When I was working at Prism, and I always like that because and not only, it's not only that you're doing a job, but you're doing a job a little bit better that helps benefit everyone. So definitely that Kaizen philosophy, I every day, I could do it better. I could do it better, Now that kind of correlates with the caffeine consumption a little bit, but that's what investing in a good coffee maker at home is all for.
Yeah, I'd say like I honestly pivoted because of mental health reasons, and that was a big reason why I switched. And then that comes with a lot of, hits to your confidence and all that stuff, right? So you have those tough days, but um, you kind of have to you right like honestly, I fell into it, and you need a paycheck at the end of the day. You have bills to pay, and yeah, that's how I got through it. But it gets better, and I love the work that I'm doing. It's impacting a lot of people, so I'm very grateful for that. I'm happy I ended up making that switch.
Okay. Okay, well then, with that, we're pretty much at the end of our time. I'd like to thank Derek, Harrison, and Laurie-Ann for being so generous with your time, talking to our students and giving advice. If I assume that if any of our students wants to talk further with you, they can communicate with me, and I'm happy to put them in touch. And then I will let you go and ask you, final final thoughts before we go, Derek?
I would say is like I mentioned before, your major does not define your future. Okay. Don't think that because you signed up for forensic science, you're going to be David Caruso jumping through glass doors, solving crimes in less than 1 hour every day for the rest of your life, because that's not really realistic. But what's more realistic is you might want to go into a field like forensic science, but maybe it might not fulfill what you want to do in life, such as make change or anything like that. And so that's why you always want to consider the full spectrum of what you have learned at John Jay, especially in the sciences and computer sciences and whatnot, and see where else could I go if this doesn't work out the way I want it to.
Laurie-Ann, Harrison, either of you?
I was just responding to Karima's message in the chat. So biggest takeaway, guys, is you will have a plan. It may seem like the best laid plan, but life throws stuff at you, and it's okay. You can accept it, you can pivot, you can stay on track, and whichever works best for you, you just make the decision and keep going forward. Just keep going forward. And as I've said before, it will literally all fall into place. What is for you will be for you.
I say use the time you have in college to find out what you don't like. Um, that helps out a lot and gets you to find out what you do like, and just say yes to more things.
I love that. Say yes to more things. You learn by doing. Again, I would like to thank everyone. I want to remind everyone to please fill out the evaluation survey for today. It's a link right there on the chat. It will take you just a couple of minutes. And we do need to report to the federal and state agencies that provide the funds for these type of events about this. And we want to be able to keep our grants. So please help us, because otherwise this whole thing goes away. Anyway, I am going to stop recording. If anybody was shy and wanted to ask questions when the camera is off, please stay behind. And again, Derek, Harrison, Laurie-Ann, thank you so much for being here. And everyone, I look forward to seeing you on the respective events. Remember, for URP, we have a monthly meeting on Wednesday, and the next STEM Scholars event is on Thursday.